All right, today is, we're going over this partner test from yesterday, or from Friday, I should say. Tomorrow's gonna be your individual test. What you wanna do, this test was out of 52 points, you wanna beat your score that's on your paper. If you beat it, then I double it. Now, you have to get within one letter grade of this grade, otherwise I won't count it. So if you're in a group that you got 100, there were some 100%s, you got 100% on it, you better at least get a B on this test tomorrow, otherwise I'm taking that 100% away from you. So you should be able to at least score within one letter grade of this grade, okay? So let's go through this. And then I have a short half-sheet assignment, deals with a question like this one, and then no homework tonight. What you're gonna do tonight is make sure, you're gonna study, absolutely. What two things should be ready to be turned in tomorrow? We did one worksheet and one 4 worksheet. So when you come in tomorrow, have those two ready to go. Turn them in, you're gonna take your test, and that's that. We're gonna start chapter 2 on Wednesday.
Everything's on YouTube, right?
Everything's on YouTube. And all the worksheets are on Weebly. I even have on Weebly, the MS Weebly audio, www.missaudio.weebly.com. Here, I'll write it here.
That's very bad. I have so much words. Wait, you don't remember? It's all from forensics.
You did it.
If you go on this site, you can find a copy, a blank copy of this test and an answer key. Okay? So if some of you guys want to go home and make a blank one for yourselves and redo it. All right, question 1A. Is this a function? Yes or no? Why? Vertical line test, great. State the domain. The domain is your x values from least to greatest. What number is this right here? Because that's the least number. -6, and it goes all the way to what? 6. Now, we have to decide, are we including or not including these two critical values, these n numbers? Which one we're including? We have a closed circle and an open circle. So how am I going to designate if I'm including it or going up to it, not including it? Well, a bracket includes it, and we included -6 because it's closed circle. And we're going to use an open circle or parenthesis for 6. Now your range, what's the smallest y value? Anyone? -5. We use a bracket with it or a parenthesis? A bracket. And it went all the way from -5 all the way up to, what's this number? 6. Bracket or parentheses? I'm sorry, that's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 brackets.
Why is that one a bracket?
Why is it a bracket?
Yeah.
Because it reaches this number right here, which is 7.
Okay, but, okay, as opposed to parentheses, what is it? Okay, so it reaches it, what is that telling me?
Okay, this is the range of y values from
Right.
here to here.
Yeah,
From here to here. Now, are you asking me what would it look like if it were a parenthesis?
yeah, like what would be the difference? So how would I
if I
distinguish?
if I had an open circle here,
Okay,
right here,
so unless there's an open circle at that top point, then it's gonna be a bracket.
right. Okay, how about 1D? 14. 1D. What is the y value when x is -5? So what we have to do is go to -5 on the x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we want to hit the graph, and that's the point. That's the y value. So it's -1. And for E, what is the x value when y is 6. So if you go to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we want to go across here. There's actually two answers. There's actually two x values that hit y at 6. Anyone know what one of them is? 2, and there's another one. 2 and 4. Okay, number 2. Is this relation considered to be a function, yes or no? Why? None of the inputs or domain repeated. We have a 3, a -3, a -5, a 0, a 4, and a 6. Nothing repeated, so that's good. How about 3? The square root of 2 it's an irrational number, and it is also real.
You're real rational.
Yes. Were you here Friday? Number 4. -4/2. What is -4/2? Simplify it. -2. And -2 is considered an integer, it is a rational number, and it is a real number. So A, B, and D were the correct answers. Number 5. How do you correctly state the domain? What's the deal? What do we do as a 4 and a 1? Here's those are all your domains. So your domain is going to be the set of numbers. What's the smallest of those that I circled? -5, then -3. There's another -3. Do I have to write it again?
No.
No. Then what? 2. And one more. Let's skip to C. Is this a function? Why not? Because these were repeated.
True.
If you have any x values repeating, it's not a function. What's the range? -1. So please, put these in order from least to greatest. Do not repeat. Number 6. How do you find the slope and the y-intercept? What do? You want to write this in slope-intercept form. So bring this -3x over, and then do what? Divide by 4. So y equals 3/4 x minus 6. So this tells me that the slope is 3/4 and your y-intercept is -6. This is all review. Number 7, I want you to sketch this graph. I want at least 4 points. Well, where do I begin? What's the y-intercept? Well, I'm going to rewrite this again. There's a problem. I'm going to bring 4x over and then divide by -3. So what is this equation in slope-intercept form? Y equals 4/3 x minus 3. This is where you begin. So I want to see a dot at -3. In your rate of change, it's a positive slope, so you're going to rise 4 and run 3. 1, 2, 3. Now it says plot 4 points. How many points do I have? I have 2. So I'm going to go up 4 here and over 3. Sorry. These are small squares. And then I can go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Or I could have went this way. Down 4 and 3 this way. There's 5 points. I'll take any 4. Number 8. Find the equation of a line passing through these 2 points. So what two things, and I need it in slope-intercept form. What is slope-intercept form? And you want it to look like that. So what is the first thing I'm gonna go for? Slope. How do I find the slope? Let's do our little, let's do our slide. What's the slide?
That's a slide.
8 minus negative 2 over 10 minus 5, which is 10 over 5. What's the slope? 2. 2 goes here. Now, I'm going to use point slope form. This is point slope form. 2 is the slope, and I get to pick whichever point I want to put in for x1, y1. I'm going to use 10, 8. So I'm going to put y minus 8 is your y1 equals 2 times x minus 10. Now the only thing I have to do here is distribute. So 2x minus 20 and then add 8. So the final answer would be y equals 2x minus 12. So get this in slope-intercept form by distributing the 2 and adding 8. Number 9, how do you find the slope, or find the equation of a line? I want this slope, I want it to pass through this point, and I want it in point slope form. What is point slope form? So all I need to do is put this slope in here, and then this is my x value, here's my y value, so it should be y plus 5 equals negative 1/5 times x minus 3. Now according to this question, it says put the answer in point slope form. That's the answer. Do not distribute and put it in slope intercept form. If I ask you for it in this form, this is the form I want on the answer on the answer blank. So y, the correct answer is this. And leave it. Number 10. We're talking about perpendicular lines. I want an equation of a line that passes through this point, but I want it to be perpendicular to this line right here. So what should I first do to 10x plus 2y equals negative 3? You need to get this in slope-intercept form. So you get 2y equals negative 10x minus 3, divide by 2. And you really don't need the b value. I'm just looking for the slope. What is the slope of this line right here? What is it? If it were parallel, it'd be negative 5, but it's perpendicular. So what would be the perpendicular slope? What's the slope I really want? 1/5. So I'm going to use this slope passing through this point. So y, point slope form, y minus 3 equals 1/5 times x plus 2. Now the question says put your answer in slope-intercept form. Now you could do one of two things. You could multiply this by 5, this by 5, this by 5, or you can distribute. What do you guys want me to do? Distribute. This is 1/5 x plus 2/5. Now I don't want to deal with any fractions. How can I get rid of these two 5s? What would I multiply everything by? 5, 5, 5, because those will cancel, and 5, these will cancel. So I have 5y minus 15 equals 1x plus 2. Okay, now I want to get this in slope-intercept form, so what do I need to bring over? This needs to come over here, so I'm going to add 15. And last thing, divide by 5. I'm sorry, this should be 2, should be 17. This should be 17, guys. I get it 17, here, now it's right. So it's y equals, this was a 2, if we add 15 to 2, we get, it should be a 17. It should be a 17, that was my mistake. But it's right on your test. So what, the correct answer would be y equals 1/5 x plus 17 fifths. It's one of the harder ones on the test. Number 11. Which best describes the relationship between these lines? Well, I want to find out what the slope of EF is. What's the slope? And then what's the slope of 8, 1, 5, 3? Let's do the slide here. So -5 minus -3, -4 minus -7. So this is going to be -2 over +3. And then for this one, 1 minus 3, 1 minus 3 over 8 minus 5. So this is going to be -2 over 3. What do you know about these two slopes? They are what? They're absolutely identical. So you will tell me that these are parallel because they're the same slope. What if one was a -2/3 and one was a +2/3? Neither. Good. Okay. Number 12. Standard form has no what? No fractions. Well, I see a fraction here. How do I get rid of this fraction? Multiply all three terms by what? 5 times y, 5 times 3/5 x, and 5 times 2. So what's happening is those two 5s are canceling. So you have 5y equals 3x plus 10. Now standard form, the x has to be in front. So if I slide this over, it's going to be -3x. This is an okay answer, but if you want to be better, what answer should you write down? Instead of -3x,
+3x minus 5,
positive 3x minus 5y equals -10. What did we do? Multiplied everything by -1. Questions, anyone? Okay, this next one, I want you to tell me what t is. T is a variable. I give you an ordered pair, t comma 6. So t comma 6, that's one, this is your x value, this is your y value. And then the other one is 4 comma -4t plus 6. I want to know what t has to be so that the slope is equal to 2. So here's my slide. I'm going to do 6 minus this quantity over t minus 4. I'm going to set this equal to what? 2. This is my slope. Okay, so algebraically, what should you do with this negative here? Anybody? Multiply by what? -1. Good job. So you've got 6 plus 4t minus 6 over t minus 4. What else can you do to this problem? What else can you do?
Cancel.
Why?
Because it's a negative or positive. So
Mm-hmm. Then what?
multiply by t minus 4.
yeah.
What are we doing?
Multiplied by t minus 4 to cancel the denominator.
So you're cross multiplying.
Yeah.
4t times 1 is 4t.
True.
And what's 2 times t minus 4? You have to multiply 2 by t and 2 by 4. That's minus 4. Then what?
Solve.
Solve. How do you do? What do you do? Subtract. subtract
Subtract
2t,
your t,
and then what?
divide. If you want to see if it's right, you plug in your 4 for t, see if you come out with negative t.
Very good, very good. Okay, next. In the year 1955, I like to write an order here, 1955, comma, first class auto paid its employees 55,000. And then it says, in 1970, the salary was 66,700. Okay, it says to use X is 0 corresponding to the year 1955. So instead of this, what am I going to use here? 0. So how many years would be 1970?
15.
How many?
15.
15. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to find the rate of change, which is your slope. I have to subtract these two over, I have to subtract these two. So, can you tell me what the slope is? Well, the difference is, the difference of these two over the difference of these two ends up being 11,700 over 15, which if you reduce it, you can use a calculator, is 780. That's your slope. So it's y equals 780x plus, what is the beginning amount? That's your B value, 55,000. Next, I want you to use this equation to evaluate the salary in this year. So in 1985, what's the Y value? So what X, if we used X is 0 for 1955, in 1970, 15 years later, we use 15, what year am I going to put here? From 55 to 85, how many years pass? 30. So I'm going to use 30 for my what value? X. Into where? Here's your equation. What am I going to plug 30 in for? Right here. 780 times 30 plus 55,000. Anyone have an answer?
78,100.
You got it. Label your answers, please. And the last one on the test. A toy company has fixed costs of 50,000. That's before they even make a toy. This 50,000 is the cost of the building, the insurance, the electricity, the air conditioning, taxes, everything it costs to just open the doors. We have to pay this. Now, do we pay it if do we pay different amounts? This is fixed. So every year, every month, you're going to pay fixed costs of that, 50,000. Now, we have a variable cost, $8 a toy. So if you make one toy, it's $8. So there may be like materials involved in making the toy. Maybe the cost of your employees. So can you give me an equation that gives the total cost is Y, producing X toys? If it's $8 per toy, what should be right here? 8X. Number of toys times 8, plus we're gonna pay this $50,000, and I don't know if this is monthly or yearly, doesn't matter. So that's our equation for A. Now, what would be the total cost if I made 12,000 toys? You're going to put 12,000 right here for X. Multiply and add, you end up getting 146,000. So it's 146,000 to make 12,000 toys. The equation was Y equals 8X plus 50,000. Now, what if I said, what's the cost of making one toy? It doesn't cost $8 to make 12,000 toys. We have to we have to consider this 50,000, we have to divvy it up into this $8 a toy. Per toy, or 12,000 toys, I'm sorry. So you're gonna take this quantity, this amount, and divide it by, we're gonna make 12,000. The total cost of the number of toys, and you should end up with $12.17. So it's $12.17 a toy. Now, there's one more thing I would like to go over. We're gonna do this little half sheet of paper. You guys, go this way. Next, both sides of this. Okay, here's a function.
I'm so good at
Here's a picture. Can you guys tell me what you see?
that. I see,
What do you see here?
I see a function. Just
What do you
kidding. I saw a dot, it's not a function.
You see a closed dot.
Two closed dots.
You see a closed dot here.
Yeah,
That's closed.
yeah,
And then this graph goes up, and that's an open circle here, but a dot right there.
so it's not a function.
And then it continues. It is a function.
Why?
It is a function. Does this pass the vertical line test?
No, there's a dot and that -2. Does that hit?
Well, what does this open circle on the graph represent?
Oh,
a
like
hole.
up. Oh, well,
It does not include this spot right here or that spot.
that's good at math.
So it's a hole. It's not including these 2 points. Can you tell me what the output, what's output?
Selection.
What's the y value for an x value of 4? And I heard it, 3. So if you go over 4, you're gonna go up 3. That is correct. Find me inputs whose output is 0. What does output 0 mean?
You're gonna come out your y.
Y is 0. So I want to know all the x values. Here's the y value of 0.
-3, 0, 2.
-3, 0, and 2. Very good. Can you tell me what the y value is that corresponds to an x value of -2? Don't shout the answer out yet. Think about
There
it.
isn't, there's a hole. Oh, just kidding, 3.
Aha, it's 3.
I'm just dumb. It's okay.
It is 3. Why isn't it this number right here? Why isn't it 1?
Because it's not numbered.
It's not including that. It's this is it.
I'm gonna top this section.
Yeah, you did. Okay, now, here's the last 2 that I want to make sure you understand. What's the domain in the range of this function? I want to make sure you can do the domain, which is the x values, in correct interval notation. What's the smallest x value we have?
-4.
Is it including -4?
Yeah.
Yes. So the domain would be -4 with a bracket, and it goes to
Up to
5.
5 with a parenthesis.
good with a parenthesis. Why am I putting a parenthesis?
Because it's not including 5, it's up to 5.
Now, if this were closed, a colored in circle, then there would be 2 brackets.
True.
Good job. Okay, can you tell me the range? What's the smallest y value? The range is up and down.
-2.
-2. And it goes up to what? 3. And I'm gonna use 2 brackets. Grand finale, and we're done. How would the domain and the range change if we put open circles at each end? So in other words,
You put a parenthesis instead of a bracket.
yes, there would be a parenthesis here for this -4. Actually, nope.
Oh.
Yes, -4 would be a parenthesis, and it goes, there would be 2
Let's not jump
parentheses
to
here.
conclusions here.
Would the range change? No, because it's still going from -2 all the way up to 3. So the only thing that would change in this answer, this would be a parenthesis.
Breath.
Does anyone have any questions on anything?